a worn-out town, paint peeling off them old brick signs. Folks work hard, keep their heads down, trying to hold on to better times. Used to leave your door unlocked at night. Now everybody's got a camera on. Still got faith if we get it right, we can fix what's gone wrong. Ain't about talk, ain't about show. It's about the way we live, the way we know. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights, neighbors standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, hot true stars up above, a little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase. It's sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back to heart. By the water line, kids still laughing like nothing's changed. But there's a whole lot of talk on the screen these days, and not enough folks saying it face to face. We ain't perfect, never claimed to be, but we know what matters when the dust all clears. It's family, friends, and a little dignity, and standing strong through the years. Ain't about left, ain't about right. It's about showing up when it's time to fight. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights, neighbors standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, heart true stars up above, a little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase. Sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back to heart. Ain't no filter, ain't no spin, just who we are and where we've been. If you fall down, we pull you up. That's the kind of country built on us. Let's get back to dirt roads, back porch lights, neighbors standing up, yeah, ready to fight. Cold beer, heart true stars up above, a little less talk and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a flag you fold. It's the way of life and the code we hold. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back, yeah, back to heart. Yeah, back to us. Woo. Back to us. Back to heart.
Good evening and welcome to Apex News Above the Noise podcast. I am Kyle Thompson.
And I'm Craig Blanton.
Craig, we have a packed show tonight. Seems like we have breaking news all the time here. With major developments at the state and national level, from leadership shakeups in Frankfurt to fallout in Washington to the impact on your wallet at the gas pump. But we start tonight right here in Kentucky with Governor Andy Beshear making key moves inside of his administration that could shape the direction of state government moving forward. Governor Beshear is reshuffling leadership across multiple executive cabinets in what appears to be a strategic reset as his administration moves deeper into its current term. According to reporting from the Kentucky State Journal, the changes impact several major areas of state government, including the Transportation Cabinet, the Energy and Environment Cabinet, and the Education and Labor Cabinet. The biggest headline comes from the Transportation Cabinet. Longtime Transportation Secretary Jim Gray, who has been the Transportation Secretary in that role since 2019, is actually stepping down. Gray, a former mayor of Lexington and one of the most recognizable figures in Beshear's administration, played a major role in overseeing infrastructure projects and federal funding pipelines across the state. He'll be replaced by Rebecca Goodman, a familiar name within the administration, signaling continuity, but also a shift in leadership style and priorities. Craig, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about what that means. Obviously, Secretary Gray is not retiring. He is moving into a new consultation role, if you will, with Governor Beshear regarding transportation. And I think we all know what that truly means at this point.
Yeah, it's time for a change, looking for a new direction. And I don't know if it has anything to do with all the complaints across Kentucky with the condition of the roads, but um, this happens a lot. He's been with him, I think, 6 years. So
It's
it's
seven,
time,
seven. Yeah,
7 years.
he's been there since he took over.
Yeah, so it's time for a change.
The other thing that I think this actually shows is that Governor Beshear is serious when it comes to his run for president. He is doing what he can to uh, bring all of those who can be his assistants and aides on big issues like transportation, construction, things of that nature. He's going to lean on those people, and I personally think that's the role that you're going to see Secretary Gray, Jim Gray, actually step into as more of an advisory role to the governor as he is beginning to really focus in on the presidency. I will say, Governor Beshear has one more full year before the election. He has one more term with this legislature. But as we'll talk later on in story two here, uh, he knows he's not getting anything done. I mean, he knows he is not
Right.
he's not getting anything passed at this point that he feels like he wants to get passed, and he wants to move on. I mean, I think it's quite clear that he wants to move on, and he's moving some folks into those high positions, those non-merit positions that, if there is a Republican that comes in, those individuals will all be replaced. So you're looking at folks who are going to get 18 months in this job, maybe a little bit more. And so I think that's what a lot of this is. Would you agree?
Yeah, and this article, is posted by our friend Austin Horn, who used to be here at State Journal. But it's I know the executive director of the governor's cabinet, John Hicks, went to school with him. A very sharp individual, but he needs to get these people that can start focusing on um, looking towards the presidential run, because the latest poll I saw had him at 4%, but at least he's listed now. He wasn't listed in any of them before, so he's going to be lining up people that's going to be able to help that move forward, I believe.
Well, I obviously think that's where he's going with his personal decisions on who he's moving around and things of that nature. But I also think that it is time, as you said, to make some changes and move forward. One of the things we haven't talked about and we will talk about in the near future is the shakeup with regard to the transportation cabinet and driver's licensing. There's a big to do. They at least 1,500, maybe as many as 5,000 driver's licenses have been issued to
Sold, sold.
sold. You can call it what it is. It's to non-citizens, and I
Mhm.
think that people are starting to see that there may be a connection to some oversight issues that have happened, and the last thing that I'm sure some of these folks want is for the auditor to come through there and do a report on them, and then next thing you know, you're having to defend yourself, and maybe that's why the shakeup is coming in now. The governor also announced adjustments within the Energy and Environmental Cabinet, the Education and Labor Cabinet. And while those moves may not grab headlines the same way, they suggest a broader internal realignment rather than a one-off personnel change. And let's be clear, this isn't random, Craig. Cabinet reshuffles like this usually happen when a government is either tightening control or aligning priorities or even preparing for the next phase of their own personal agenda. And I think you have a little bit of that with regard to the realigning of priorities and also preparing for the next phase of this agenda.
But and I don't know anything about Rebecca Goodman. Hopefully, our local leaders will set up meetings with her quickly. But she's coming from the Energy and Environment Cabinet,
Yep.
and we're in the transportation's in the road building and bridge building cabinet. So I don't know how they cross over, but it doesn't matter when it's the top dog like that. When it's the secretary of a cabinet,
Yeah, you're
it's going to be a change,
it
a
will,
whole
and
philosophy change.
I think the day-to-day worker is probably not going to affect a lot, but there will be some policy changes that come
Right.
down, and everyone. And this is the hardest part of being a state employee, in that these next 2 to 3 years, in an 8-year swing are the hardest, because you have a bunch of policy changes at the end of a term, then you have a bunch of policy changes at the beginning of the term, and then you kind of find your sweet spot for about 3 years, and then you do it all over again. And I think you're going to see
And
a lot of that.
yeah, and plus, the governor does not want any black eyes across any state government
No,
agency that
no.
that his opponents, his Democratic opponents, can use against him. So there
Well,
might be some shuffle in there also.
and I think
Politics has got to play in this.
100% it does, and I think that you don't want a black eye, but also if you have anything that could be a skeleton or a black eye to you, you want to go ahead and pick out those, those sacrificial lambs at this point too. If you're going to be letting people go and you want to, place blame on people, this is the time that is going to happen, and you're going to see audits come through, and you're going to see changes in state government, because we have a governor who, like it or not, is spending a lot of time on the national level at this point.
And another look you could say is he's bringing Jim Gray closer to his inner circle with his executive cabinet and making him
Right.
a special advisor. So
Yeah.
he could be circling the wagons to get all his good people near him so that they can help and advise him on decisions. Because it's not a negative when the cabinet. I went through a bunch of them in transportation. It was just time for the guys to go, or they want to go back to their companies that they came from.
Right.
I didn't experience any bad cabinet secretaries the 30 years I was there.
Well, and I am interested to see how this affects a number of their programs and the progress that they've made in a number of those. I'm interested to see how it affects things like whether they expand on their what used to be the Drive Smart program, whether they deal with ignition interlocks, what they're going to do with these
public safety now.
what they're going to be doing with if there's an investigation that continues out of the Jefferson County office with regard to the driver's licensing. There are a slew of topics that I think people are going to want to be looking at. And while the governor is making moves inside his administration, lawmakers here in Kentucky are making moves of their own. And once again, they're having the final say. In the final days of the legislative session, the Kentucky General Assembly returned to Frankfort the last couple days with one main task, and that is deciding which of Governor Andy Beshear's vetoes would stand and which ones wouldn't. And if you followed Kentucky politics at all, you probably already know how this has turned out.
Well,
go ahead.
Look at the last four words and drop off the end one. Lawmaker pay raises. And like we talked about yesterday, the retirees didn't get squat again.
It's a slap
they voted
in the face.
themselves a race. Yeah,
it is a slap in the face. And many of you know what mine and Craig's political leanings are, and I will tell you that it proves my point that I made a couple weeks ago when it comes to the retirement system and as state employees. They don't care about you. They do not care about you. They care about themselves, and they care about, every time we get an election coming around, they want to hear what your thoughts are, but they genuinely do not care about you, and they only care about themselves. And the fact that they vetoed that the Governor Beshear vetoed their pay raises, and then they came back and doubled down and said, no, we need a pay raise, even though state employees and retirees aren't getting a raise. That is abhorrent behavior. And we don't have term limits in the sense that it automatically ends for people. But you folks who are getting ready to vote in these midterms, anybody who voted for this, and we'll get the voting record and show it to you next time. But that is abhorrent. And there are 100,000 former state employees and state employees in the state of Kentucky. You all should be so offended by that. That is disgusting behavior. I can't. And by the way, one thing that we talked about, Craig, you and I, is that the LRC retirement fund is funded up to 140% right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's overfunded.
They are overfunded, while yours is barely funded.
What's it, 40% maybe?
It's at about 46%. I think it's at 46% last I checked. But that is disgusting behavior.
Yeah.
And you could say, well, they're part-time and their staff does a lot of work and they deserve. You're right, they do deserve it. But you know who else deserves it? Are the hardworking people that are in these administration cabinets right now doing the work every single day, and the people who are retirees. And the fact that they give themselves a raise is not that big of a deal. What's a big deal is they give themselves a raise after saying that you, the little guys working for the state,
Right.
don't get one for the last
Yeah.
20 years. Joke.
I don't understand it, and you know, it all starts at the local level.
It absolutely does.
Are our current elected leaders going to bat for the retirees that live in Franklin County?
Yeah, and
I
good
don't
on
think they are. I don't
yeah,
think they are. I don't think I've heard of them. I know Erica Hancock has, but
yep,
she's on the state level. I'm talking about fiscal court and the commissioners.
yep.
Do they ever think about the retirees, which are the people with the expendable income in this county?
You have a you have an occupational tax that has taken a major hit in Frankfort and Franklin County since COVID, because a bunch of those people are allowed to work from home regardless of what the governor says. There are tons of state employees working
Oh
from home,
yeah,
and that's fine as long as the work's getting done. But what they all fail to miss, including local officials, if you would go lobby the state and say, hey, our folks they need a pay increase, because that actually helps the bottom line on the tax benefit for the city. You're talking millions of dollars in
well,
difference to local cities.
not only Frankfort, every city where there's a state employee that's retired right now.
Yeah, and
It,
unless you
it
live in a
helps the entire Commonwealth.
yeah, unless you're in a city like Anderson County, or a county like Anderson County or Lawrenceburg, where they don't have an occupational tax, then it affects you. Every other place that has an occupational tax, the fact that they don't raise this, that affects the fact that majority of the people in Central Kentucky are working for state government or state agencies. And the
Mhm.
fact that they don't get pay raises, or the fact that they don't get retirement cost of living adjustments, tremendously hurts your local economy every single year that they don't do that. Uh,
Well,
And again, it just proves my point that the legislature simply does not, they don't care about the citizens and the workforce for the Commonwealth. They don't.
well, and one thing we'll talk about in a later show is I paid our net profits tax today. Man, that pisses me off to no end. But we'll talk, where you pay taxes all year long on everything. And then what little bit you make in net profit, the city they want to cut that action too.
Of course they
And
do.
it blows me away. It don't kill, but it hurts local businesses, locally owned businesses. It kills them. And, you know, it might hurt the development of new businesses. Who knows? Of new locally owned business. We'll get chains out the wazoo. There's a bunch of chains that are going to be coming in soon, but
Yep.
we'll talk about that on another show, because I've
But
got all
but I
kinds of stuff to say
but
about it.
I think what people don't realize, and we had some people in our comment section that are like, well, if the state employees don't like it, they should move on someplace else. Some of these people have been working for 20 years, and they had promises made to them.
Who keeps Kentucky running? Tell me that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Who
exactly.
cleans the roads when it snows, or who fixes all the darn potholes?
Well, they're the first to complain when they aren't done right.
Right.
And honestly, what's the incentive to do a good job as a state employee anymore?
Well, there's
It's
no retirement.
darn near impossible to get fired
Yeah.
from state employment, and you're not getting a cost of living adjustment, and you're not getting a pay increase. I mean, show up to work and do the minimal amount required. Obviously, there's a bunch of you who do not do that, my wife being one of them. But there are folks that have no incentive to work hard and do good for the citizens, and why should they? I don't understand. As a business owner, Craig, you and I, we reward those people who do
Yep.
well for us. We give them
Every
pay
year.
increases, and
Every year.
we want to make sure them and their family are happy. The state doesn't do any of that, and
Yeah.
it's terrible for a location like Frankfort, where so many people do work for state government. I mean, it's just hard to imagine that this
you-
is their
You can't recommend your friends' children to go into state government now.
Oh gosh, no.
You cannot do it. And so, I mean, it was the thing when I was coming out of high school, go get a job with state government, because you're not going to get a lot of pay throughout your 30 years. but you'll have a killer retirement.
You can
Which is,
retire in your early 50s or even
I
late 40s for
retired.
some people.
I
Yeah.
retired at 47 with 30 years in, bought 5 years of airtime, so I went out with almost 35 years.
Yeah, and you can't even do that anymore.
No,
So,
well, you can't afford to do it. I bought
yeah,
it
and
soon as it became available.
yeah, in the final days, with the Republican supermajority in both chambers, lawmakers moved quickly to override a number of the governor's vetoes, continuing a trend that becomes the norm in recent years. According to reporting from Spectrum News One, lawmakers have consistently overridden nearly every single veto the governor has issued in recent sessions, including sweeping overrides in 2025. This year appears to be no different. One of the most notable overrides this session involves House Bill 314, dealing with the state of Kentucky's Kentucky Wired broadband project. Lawmakers overrode the governor's veto to restructure oversight of the project, shifting control away from the executive branch. Beshear had called the bill a, quote, partisan power grab, unquote, but the legislature moved forward anyway, according to the Northern Kentucky Tribune. Major bills now laws, and just as one example, here are some of the other more widely reported bills that are now law or expected to be after the overrides. House Bill 1, which is the school choice expansion, allows Kentucky to participate in a federal tax credit scholarship program aimed at expanding education options. That was overridden despite the governor's veto, according to WDRB. And you can anticipate that there will be a lawsuit filed probably tomorrow regarding that bill.
Yep.
It's just a restructured version of what they tried to do last year, which was struck down. House Bill 314, Kentucky Wired oversight changes. We've just discussed that one. House Bill 6, limits on executive branch authority, places additional restrictions on how state agencies implement laws and regulations. Higher education policy changes, including DEI restrictions. Lawmakers have also advanced measures targeting diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in public universities, part of a broader policy push seen in recent sessions, as reported by the Kentucky Lantern. And so let's call it what it is. At this point, the veto in Kentucky isn't really a roadblock at all. It's more of a speed bump, just gets it delayed a little bit because with the numbers in the legislature, if lawmakers want a bill to become law, it's going to become law. And why does this matter? I think the main reason is the legislature is driving policy. The governor is often reacting to that, and the balance of power is tilted heavily in one direction. I will also say this: when in the next year, when we start seeing all of the political ads, if the structure of the Kentucky House is what it is at the end of this term, at the end of this year, then
Brandon Horseman.
What's up, Brandon?
yeah, no kidding, right? The folks that are um, the folks who are running on the Democrat side, I don't want to hear what your what your position is and what you're going to change and what you're going to do, because you're not. You're just not. Just say that you want to work with Republicans in the House and you want to work to unite some efforts. Because if you have broad sweeping ideas, it's not going to matter. It won't matter. Even if you get elected, it won't matter
Just
because
be a
you
waste.
can't.
It'd just be a total waste of air.
At total waste of air. And on the Republican side, if you say anything besides I am beholden to whatever the legislature tells me I can do, you're lying as well. I mean, once you have a supermajority like this, and we can, you can be happy if you're on that side versus another side. When you're in power, and for majority of my life, Democrats had a supermajority in the House. It is not always good politics to have that. It's great from, if you have certain policy agendas that you really want to get through, but we're at a point right now where we have Republican leadership who have their agenda, and that's the only agenda that's getting out.
Right. But if you have a divided government like our current legislature, the U.S. legislature,
Right.
Nothing gets done.
Right.
So, is it good to have one
Six
party?
in one and a half dozen another,
Yeah.
right?
Was it good to have Democrats in control up to the late 90s, 2000, and they did their thing, and then the Republicans have been in control since 2000, from through today for 26 years. They're getting things done, whether we like them or not, whether which side likes them or not. At least stuff is getting done. If it was a Democrat House and a Kentucky Senate and a Democrat, whichever governor it was, nothing would be getting done at all. I don't. Just like federal level, it just won't get done.
I am I agree. However, I am incredibly frustrated because uh, even though I may agree with a majority of the Republican-led legislature, there are only certain agendas that are getting through there, and it's that House leadership that gets in there, and folks like Erica Hancock, like you said, who is the representative for Franklin County, her voice is not heard, and if it is heard, nothing's going to pass. In
She's
fact,
trying. Got to
she is
give her
trying.
credit for trying.
I
Got to give her
I
credit.
am. I'm giving her all the props in the world. The problem is that I tend to think that if Erica goes in and says we need a 13th check for retirees, that they immediately go, well, if Erica wants it, if the Dems want this, we're not going to give them a win. And
Well, maybe
that's the
next
opposite
time.
of what you need too.
Yeah, maybe next time, and I'm going to talk to Erica about it next time I see her, is she needs to go on a statewide tour
Yeah.
and just get this in the Lexington papers, the Louisville papers, Northern Kentucky, West Kentucky, Bowling Green, Owensboro, and just make it a caravan thing that all you're talking about is you got to take care of the state workers that take care of 4.5 million citizens in the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Right. It's a hard place to be, and I don't envy her, and I think she's doing a great job. I don't see that she'll ever get anything through that will actually benefit it because of the gamesmanship that is played, and that's the disadvantage.
And part of it is state employees aren't working together. There's a small group of them. I'm part of that group. There's a small group of them that try to lobby the legislature, and they do a yeoman's work, but there's just not enough of them for the legislature to give a crap.
No, and I agree. And the problem is, just like you saw when Governor Bevin ran against Governor Beshear, he got his butt handed to him because the teachers got together.
Teachers, but yeah, he would have won if it wasn't for the teachers union.
Yep,
So
absolutely. Well, and his
wonder,
mouth that got him in
yeah,
trouble with.
But he just lose by 4,000 votes or something. It was pretty close.
It was very, very close.
And
It was
the teachers put him through. But are the Republicans with these changes trying to break the teachers union?
I mean they can try. The problem is that the teachers union is as strong as ever from what it seems, but the government employees themselves, you're talking about 100,000 potential voters, and then you add in all their family members. You could have 250,000 votes that could sway an election if they decided to, really stick behind.
Can certainly elect any governor they wanted.
Absolutely, year in, year out.
Yeah, every time that group of people, that core group of people, because you only get about 600,000 votes a year for a governor. And if you could get 90% of that 250,000 to vote one way, like the teachers union, if you could get it solidified as a teachers union,
and just for perspective, just for perspective, talking about Matt Bevin, he lost by if I remember correctly, 5,200 votes, which was almost identical to one vote in every single voting precinct across the state of Kentucky. I think there were 5,100. So
I remember that.
If there was one vote that had been changed in every single precinct, just one opinion, we would have had a different governor. And you think, well, that's, still seems like a lot, but it's truly not. And everybody has a favorite teacher that they can remember, right? And so that favorite teacher, but so many people in the state of Kentucky also have state government members of their family who are in state government. And right now, if they all got together and decided, hey, whoever the next governor, whoever wants to be the next governor, you're going to give us a pay increase. You're going to give us a cost of living or whatever
or you're not going to get elected.
You may not get elected, but if you go to those Kentucky employees and retirees, they can push you into the governor's office completely.
Right. Yeah, right. But they never go at them. And they can't go after the active state employees, but they can certainly come after people like me.
They can. They absolutely can. They can. And I understand why that is. I will say that the other veto that was overridden, and I want your opinion on this, is the veto on the statue for Mitch McConnell.
Not aware. It's going to go in. I mean,
He vetoed the bill that would. He vetoed the bill that would
funding
allocate the spending, and then they
overrode it.
then overrode it.
Yeah. Like McConnell or not, like McConnell over the last 3 or 4 years, where he's kind of went against Trump on several big things, he's changed the United States of America since 1984. He's got judges in there that are going to make rulings that's going to affect the country for the next 40 or 50 years. He's put Supreme Court justices on that are going to change America over the next 25 years. I mean, there's not been a more consequential U.S. senator in American history, probably. Do you agree?
I agree. Like him or not, you're absolutely right. He has been the most influential over the last 40 plus years. I'm of the opinion of what have you done for me lately kind of thing as well.
Mhm.
I feel like
remember.
I feel like, at the end of his career, he has been a thorn in the side of President Trump and others. But sometimes you need those thorns. I mean, I helped support Senator Paul at one time, and you need people who can know what they're talking about in certain areas. But goodness gracious, these last few years, it seems like he's also been there for 45 years, and Kentucky has consistently failed from educational
He's
standards.
not brought the bacon home.
He is not.
Hal Rogers, give Hal Rogers. He's certainly brought trainloads of bacon home to southeastern Kentucky.
Yeah, per capita, Hal Rogers has brought in way more to the state of Kentucky and into his district
than McConnell even thinks
than McConnell ever thought about, and that's frustrating.
Because McConnell was thinking national, he wasn't thinking about the people back home. But voters always vote the same people in again and again and again. That's why they want term limits. But we got term limits every 2, 4, and 6 years.
We do.
We're just not smart enough to make the change.
We are, and McConnell could run against anybody and win for the rest of his life.
And he would have, I think he would have retired already if we had a Republican governor. He's hanging on now by the skin of his teeth, just so Beshear won't appoint a Democrat into his position. And he could appoint himself.
That's exactly what would happen. So, well, while lawmakers in Frankfurt are debating power and policy, a local story out of Morgan County is raising a different kind of question, not about legislation, but about professionalism, accountability, and how citizens are treated when they show up to be heard. A Morgan County Water District meeting meant to address a resident's concerns has now turned into a full-blown controversy after a hot mic caught a board member making a profane comment about that very resident that they had something to say. And according to LEX 18, the incident happened during a recent public meeting. I am positive there are people that want to know our opinion on this, so I'm going to play that right now for us.
The Morgan County Water District is responding to controversial comments made by a board member in this week's regular meeting.
So I asked him, how far did they drill down to hit water for his house?
You turn the volume up.
It was going to cost too much to drill it down too far, but he don't care if it's going to cost us arm and leg to put water to his house. I don't care if that little gets water so bad.
Did you hear them all
The
shush her?
comment caught on a hot mic came at the end of Monday's meeting. The board immediately motioned to suspend the meeting following the comment. In a message shared on Facebook, the Morgan County Water District says, quote, "We understand the public's outrage and want to assure you that appropriate measures will be taken." The post made yesterday goes on to say, quote, "We are waiting on the judge executive to return from an out-of-state funeral and for further discussion with the fiscal."
Craig, after the resident had been attending meetings on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I am sure that from their perspective, he was being a nuisance to them, but he is a member of the community. He asked for access to the water district, access to the water, and that comment made directly about the citizen on the hot mic is one that I'm sure was a shock to him. In fact, he said that that after the meeting that he left, that the live stream was still running, and that's when the board member actually made the comment.
Right, he had left the room. Yeah,
and the moment was captured on video. Now, look, I will tell you, as somebody who was in city government and in local government, if you don't think that bad things are said about the citizens that talk from all members of the public, whether that person is annoying or that person scares me or that person's a good person, whatever, it happens. It was on a hot mic. It should not be said in public. And the result here is that the board member has resigned. And I think the real reality here is it was a threat to not allow them to have a resource.
Well,
It
plus
was
she said she didn't care
it didn't care if he ever got
if he
water.
if he ever got water, and she should have resigned.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the county judge gets back, he'd have removed her anyway.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. You can't threaten people when they're asking for resources. I mean,
Not what,
that,
not
and
especially
that's what this was. And I'm sure there are people out there that are like, oh well, Kyle got caught in a hot mic incident situation, totally different. If you say something somebody doesn't like, that's one thing. This was a threat to prevent them from having a local resource that they are entitled to.
and having local, not having the ability to get that local resource ever. Plus, he was there talking for not only himself, the other Morgan County residents that don't have fresh drinkable water.
Yeah,
It wasn't just him. And I saw the whole video, watched it. He was very polite and courteous. The lady that talked bad about him, when she walked in, she was a little bit late getting there.
Yep.
And she joked with that guy, as like banter, good funny banter with him when she walked in. But when he got done, it's when she lit him up.
Yeah, and I think you also have to know the history. After the terrible tornado that occurred, there was major infrastructure issues that occurred in Morgan County, and I think that plays into this as well. There's people who are still just trying to get clean water to property that they have down there after years, and this has been a problem down in that area for a long time. Them trying to make sure that their infrastructure needs are met, and I think that was the shocking thing about it, is that you'd make a comment that I don't care if that person ever gets water at all. I can't do that.
Yeah,
So,
no.
and while that's
We got to watch that too here.
yeah, we do. We got to worry about hot mics here too. And while that situation is raising questions about accountability at the local level, there's a much bigger political firestorm unfolding in Washington tonight, and it's no longer just about one resignation or two or even four. The fallout from former Congressman Eric Swalwell's resignation is continuing to spread. And now attention is turning to those closest to him. Swalwell stepped down amid multiple allegations of sexual misconduct, which he has denied, but the pressure from an ethics investigation and potential expulsion vote ultimately led to his resignation. Now, the focus has shifted to a different question: who knew what and when? One of the names now under scrutiny is Senator Ruben Gallego, a longtime ally, and I will just say this: he's the one who said just a week ago he was his best friend, right? Best friend in the world.
They came into Congress together in 2014.
Yeah,
So
and
12 years.
according to reporting from outlets including New York Magazine and others, Gallego has acknowledged that he had heard rumors about Swalwell's behavior prior to the allegations becoming public. He has since said he regrets not pressing further at the time and described feeling deceived, quote unquote, by someone he trusted. Craig, I'm just going to throw this out there. These guys, I mean, local politicians hang out with each other. And so when you leave California and you go to DC, and you're either living with or living close to other members of your congressional delegation, and you see these guys every single day, they're the closest thing you have. You go to drinks and dinner with them all the time. Am I to believe that he just heard rumors that Swalwell was a
Bull
dirtbag?
crap.
Yeah.
He knew. We all know players in the men world.
Right.
And pretty girl walks by, they're going to say something. Pretty waitress, they're going to say something. It's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
And for Gallego and others that palled around with him, and like Adam Schiff coming out and endorsing him, Swalwell, I was going to send that video to you. It's ridiculous. how much they were slathering all over him. And then there's another one that maybe we'll play tomorrow that where Swalwell just last year talks about the sanctity of women, how they're being abused and all that stuff, and they need to step up and protect the women across the country. And here this dirtbag is maybe one of the worst we've had in decades.
Yeah. And that's where the pressure is coming from. It's not about necessarily whether you had direct knowledge of misconduct. It's the perception issue, because it's almost more condescending and rude to say to us, "I didn't know anything. I didn't know he was a terrible person," instead of just saying, "He's a bad dude, but he has some good qualities. Like, we go to baseball games together." I don't know, but you can't come out and say, "I knew nothing about this." Look, everybody knew something about this. They're saying today in the New York Post and otherwise that it was the worst kept secret in D.C. what a jerk Swalwell was. And you talked about Vinny from the PBD podcast.
Yeah.
His talk about that he knew the guy for less than 10 minutes and he was wanting him, to dog around with him.
Go
And
chase women. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vinny was at a bar. Swalwell came up to him, said, "Hi, how you doing?" A couple, 3-4 minutes later, "Let's go chase some women down." And Vinny goes, "Well, I was single at the time, so I was all for it." But then after thinking about it for a minute, I'm thinking, this congressman comes up to me, doesn't know me from anybody,
Right.
and says, "Let's go chase down some women." I mean, and he said, "I had second thoughts," and he didn't go.
Well, it's a judgment. I mean, does this person have good judgment? I mean, that he would just ask a total stranger? That could have been a spy. That could have been somebody that was trying to get, compromat on
Yeah.
him or anything of that nature. And it's shocking to me that in this day and age that you would still have guys that are catting around like this. But it's not good
Where?
because
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
it's not good because guys like Gallego are then going to have a simple attack line come after him all the time now. You defended him all the way up until beginning of this week. You defended him until you couldn't defend him. You would have kept defending him until you got put in this position.
Correct. And where are the women's groups? Where are the outraged women's groups that every time something this happens on the other side of the aisle, they're everywhere. They're on every news channel there is, and they're nowhere to be seen here. There's a TV thing that came up today. This is how much the liberal TV channel CBS played 0 minutes of it since December 8th. NBC 0 minutes, ABC 2 minutes 15 seconds, MSNBC now 0 minutes, and CNN did 3 minutes and 17 seconds. So they're all covering for him, and I don't know what you do. I mean, I don't know what you do because everything is divided left or right. And when the women's groups will attack somebody on the right, but they don't touch nobody on the left.
Nope.
The TV stations, they're all over the people on the right, but they're on nobody on the left. This country's, we're in really bad shape. And that's why these things happen.
It goes back to what we talked about yesterday is that, we for weeks and months now, we've heard Epstein, and Trump, I saw some guy today again posted, well, here's 4 instances where Trump was mentioned in the Epstein files, and every single one of them said he was in places that he didn't own at the time or that he could not have been physically. And
Right.
and so you have these blanket allegations where here you have someone who has evidence. You have an investigation going on now, and you don't have people, rushing to jump all over this.
Who's leading the charge? Who's leading the charge
Yeah.
on Trump and Epstein?
Yeah.
Eric Swalwell.
Eric Swalwell.
And Schiff. And Schiff made a huge endorsement of him, but then he pulled it back yesterday after everybody else pulled it back. But, how do they not? I don't understand how they don't know. I just don't. You don't go to dinner with people. You don't spend 3 days out of every week with people and not know it.
But that's it. I mean, it's like that's not true. I mean, it's just it can't be true. Just from a physical reality standpoint, everyone knew Eric Swalwell was a jerk. Everyone knew that Eric Swalwell was a dog when it came to women, and it took getting this far, and for clearly somebody in the Democrat Party to throw him under the bus, because Republicans have been saying it for years and nobody cared.
Right, right. And that lady came out yesterday, said that not only did he rape her, but he drugged her first.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
of course these are allegations. Everybody's
allegedly raped
yeah,
her, allegedly drugged her.
yeah, yeah,
But she came forward and went on TV, went on national TV or cable news TV, and said it, and said she's just not been able to, because it was just recent, like 3
yeah,
4 years ago. Wasn't
yeah.
that long ago. And it was certainly during the Epstein era,
Of
where they're
course.
all sanctimonious and you got to protect women and all that. And we just see right here, it's nothing but talk.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
100%. And speaking of issues that are impacting people nationwide, let's turn to something every American is dealing with right now: the cost of gas and whether any relief is actually on the way. Gas prices across the country are still sitting near the $4 mark, and while crude oil prices have started to ease slightly, I think you said it was 91.60,
91.30. I'll check it again. It's 91.37.
91.37 late in the day.
91.29 now.
91.29, which is actually lower than where we were at the end of March, if my math was correct earlier. According to AAA, the national average for regular gasoline is hovering around $4.10. Here in Kentucky, drivers are seeing a slightly lower price, coming in at around $3.98. There's a down a bit from last week, about 5 cents statewide here. Now, on the oil side, prices have been volatile. Early this week, crude oil surged above $100 per barrel, and tensions in the Middle East, amid tensions in the Middle East, particularly around the Strait of Hormuz. But as of today, prices have pulled back into the mid to low 90s per barrel range, according to reporting from Reuters. So naturally, people are asking, if oil is coming down, why aren't gas prices? According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, crude oil makes up more than half of the price you pay at the pump, but it's not the only factor. Before gasoline ever reaches your tank, you deal with refining, transportation, distribution, and of course, taxes that we talked about. So when oil prices fall, gas prices don't immediately fall. There is a delay. And just today, Scott Bessent, the
Treasury Secretary.
head of the Treasury, was asked this exact question. Let's get his response here.
That it would be very aggressive if we're going to get to the $3 a gallon gas by the summer. So when are we really going to get $3 a gallon gas?
Well, I think that's going to be the up to how the negotiations go. President Trump said this morning that he thinks we're nearing the end. The U.S. kept their side on the ceasefire. We've stopped firing. The Straits of Hormuz have not been completely reopened, so we will see. And I'm optimistic that during the summer we will see gas with a 3 in front of it sooner rather than later. It's Bank Week here in D.C., so I've been meeting with a lot of my Middle Eastern counterparts, the finance ministers, and they all say that once the straits are open, they can start pumping again within 1 week.
So not by summer.
Well, I
like
think,
Memorial
and I
Day,
think
but maybe
the things to watch there, in the short term, oil prices have gone down. Your gas prices will start to go down. This is the time period that gas is up a little bit to begin with. So by Memorial Day, we're probably not going to be at that 2.99 range. But as the summer goes along, I can anticipate that with refining and supply that will go up, that gas prices will likely slowly trickle down to what we were used to, back 6 months ago. Yeah.
I looked up the breakdown of gas, and crude oil's 52%, refining costs and profits. This is the one, where everybody said, we talked about, or I talked with somebody about people saying gas stations make 1 to 2 cents a gallon. Refining costs and profits 16 to 20%.
Yeah.
Hey, it's capitalism. That's all. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Just wanted to share the facts. Distribution, marketing 11 to 18%, taxes 11 to 14%. And that's all 2026 data.
Yeah, you all get you the Gas Buddy app. If you don't have it, it's a free app and it based upon your location, will tell you where all the cheapest gas is. It'll also tell you what gas is all over the country if you're traveling, where you should stop and things like that. And we understand we had some people comment on some of our socials saying, $3.60 is not affordable for people who have regular wages. We totally agree. We agree with all of that. We want the cost of gas to go down, and we think it should. I still stick with the idea that it's real funny when all of this started and we didn't jump to $120 a barrel or $140 a barrel like they were, the doomsday people were talking about.
$200 a barrel too.
Yeah,
Don't forget
yeah.
that.
Yeah, we're in the 110 range, and things shot up to $4 a gallon of gas. There's more at play in this than just refining. And the fact that they were so quick to jump up there, I've known people in the gas station business before, and I know that there is not a large markup there, but it's awful funny when you can jump from 379 to 410 overnight, and the same escalation has not occurred in the world of crude oil. But that's probably a longer discussion some other time.
Right now, the barrel price is the lowest since March 23rd. And then on March 22nd, it was $88 a barrel. So it's not far off of that. Then the next low was March 9th at $83 a barrel.
Which is right after.
Yeah. But everything, as soon as the price of gas goes up $2 or $3, they jack the price up 30 or 40 cents a gallon.
Yeah. And then they slowly,
2 cents down here, 2 cents down there. And the oil that the futures market that they jack the price up on, that won't hit America or any other country for 6 months.
No.
Because you've got a supply that's you've got refined gasoline already supplied that's shipped all over the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're just taking advantage of the situation worse than any other commodity in the country, except this one drives the cost of everything in the country.
Yeah, it absolutely does. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll report back to you later this week as we see things changing. While families across the country are watching prices at the pump here in Kentucky, there is another topic that is eating up just about all of our days and nights and getting most of our attention, and that is the future of Kentucky basketball.
Let's talk about the Kentucky side of this thing, because I'm sitting here, I'm in South Jersey. I'm about a 2.5 hour flight away from Lexington. And even though I am all the way on this side of the country, I can feel the angst growing within that city. I can feel the angst growing within that fan base. I can feel the angst growing within our friend Matt Jones's heart. It's just starting to beat through his chest because this Kentucky team now, they missed out on they lost Colin Chandler to BYU. They missed out on Rob Wright. They missed out on a number of recruits that have come in. They haven't had it feels like they haven't had a win on the recruiting trail in years. Riley Cobb Moreno is coming back. They got Mason Williams coming in. But beyond that, do we know anything about this roster? Do we know anything about this group? And why? I guess my biggest question before we get into anything like that, why? Why is this the way that it's playing out for Kentucky right now? Why are they having so much trouble getting players at that caliber that want to play for this program?
I mean, first of all, they don't have the money they had last year. There's not the disparity they had last year. But forget about that. They've got enough money. It's not like they don't have enough money to get players. They do. Mm-hmm. As I told you months ago about Kentucky, what did they need to do that they did not do, Rob? What did they need to do?
A GM.
Correct. This was absolutely 100%. Ludicrous.
100%.
You have all that money devoted to a GM that can have plan A.
I'm gonna hop out of here just so we can talk about that. But I made a comment yesterday and the day before about Rob Wright, and I felt confident that
you weren't the only one. You weren't the only one.
And Jeff Goodman, who you just saw on the channel there, said Robert Wright is coming to the University of Kentucky unless they screw it up somehow. Now, I don't know what goes on in these visits. I know that the fan base, they did everything that they could. They were putting banners up, they were showing up, asking for autographs. They were doing all the things all the good things that you hope fans do. All the things that you send out on social media and say, "Hey, we're all going to show up. We're all going to do this." Great. Fantastic. This is the biggest whiff. And maybe Robert Wright wasn't an All-American player, and maybe he wasn't the end-all be-all. But you had a guy who everyone, including BYU, who had said they had received word that Robert Wright was coming to the University of Kentucky. That's a
Right.
confirmed fact that was
Across the
said.
yeah, everybody knew it across the country
And
until yesterday.
until yesterday, and then all of a sudden, you get nothing from the university, you get nothing from the staff, you get nothing from the coaches, you get nothing from anyone other than we have a lot of irons in the fire and we hope that we can lock some people down this week. Baloney. People, Magoon Guath, who we talked about yesterday on the
Yeah.
show, signed with DePaul. These kids are choosing to go to lower level schools than your school. There's a problem.
With all these whiffs, I made a post about it yesterday. This is going to be the biggest whiff week UK's ever seen in our lifetimes. We're going to strike out with everybody, probably. We have struck out with 3 of the 5 so far. Why wouldn't UK go after Feldhouse's son, who signed with the University of Florida, South Florida today? Why would you not go after him? Mr. Basketball, at least try to do something to get a positive thing for the fans. I mean, that would have been the 3rd generation that played for Kentucky.
To get a 6'8" guy that can rebound and shoot the ball, I
21
mean,
points a game.
maybe he's not your guy that is going to be all SEC, but you need bodies, right? And he's
Yep.
a Kentucky kid. Bring him home. Let's do something. Do something. And if you're not going to do something like that, then do what you have to do and go get a general manager. There's been all this talk. You were going to bring in potentially Tayshaun Prince. You were potentially going to talk to other guys from the league, Rondo and others that may join your staff. None of it happened. Not one thing happened. You brought in Mo Williams, who apparently can't sell the deal either. There has got to be a cultural problem that no one else is talking about, because as a big Kentucky apologist and the guy that just 2 days ago that said, okay, everybody, let's pump the brakes. At this point, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because you have guys who are locks coming in here, and you can't do that. And they decide to go back to BYU for less money. And
Right.
by the way, and it has to be said, BYU has a strict code of ethics up there that you live a different life when you're at BYU. You are not a typical college student. And these guys are choosing to go back to that. I
Yeah.
don't understand what is happening. And I have a tidbit that came to me last night from, it's an anonymous source, but talked to some players who were on the team this year, and they talked about the cultural problem in the locker room. And it gives me the heebie-jeebies when that happens, because that reminds me of times at the University of Michigan and their football program. It gives me an idea of the University of Kentucky and their football program, when you had terrible environments in the locker room and nobody wants to come play there. And you look at the other side at Kentucky football right now, Will Stein's signing everybody. He just
Right.
signed the number 2 quarterback in the country.
And what about the women's basketball team getting one of the 5-star from Connecticut, of all places?
They got a 5-star from Connecticut, and they just signed 2 more portal transfers today. I don't have their names yet. I'm waiting on somebody to send back to me.
And look at, I've been looking a lot into Tyran Stokes, if that's how you say his first name.
Yep.
Number one, everybody acknowledges, all the podcasters acknowledge that he's looking for the biggest payday. He said on an interview up in one of the high school tournaments that wherever he's going to be there 8 months, and he's going to the NBA. But as people dive more into it, you wonder why. Where's Duke? Where's Kansas? Where's Michigan? Where's Connecticut? Where's the real top 4 that we got today? Why are they not going after this guy?
Well, obviously Kansas
There
probably a good shot. He's in it.
Yeah.
But North Carolina, Duke, Michigan, they don't want to touch this guy.
Is it because of the money? He's a skilled player. I watched the podcast this morning. He is the number 1 player, but said he has causes locker room issues. If he has a bad game, he sulks. His body language is bad. I'm not bashing the kid. I'm just saying what other people say. And when have you ever seen the number 1 pick go this late into the season?
Well,
when you got a Duke, Connecticut, Michigan that are out there that would normally, and you could say Kentucky would normally get this player, already have him locked up.
UK's not locking down
nobody.
Just 3 stars at this point. And is the staff spending all their time on these home runs? And if you whiff, you have nobody. That's exactly what happened last year, by the way. And oh, by the way, Jaden Quaintance, we said yesterday, he's going pro.
Yeah.
There is no chance he's coming back to the University of
You see
Kentucky.
did you see his going
Yeah.
away thing on Instagram today?
Yeah, he is done with the University of Kentucky, and good for him. I hope, wish him good luck. But that's a lot of money. That's $2 million, whatever the number was, $100,000. That's a lot of money that was just kind of blown for 20 minutes a time this year. But
Right.
with Kentucky right now, they're going to have all the money in the world to spend because they have nobody. They have nobody coming in. Now, a lot of people are saying if Zoom Diallo comes, that's a point guard that has played with Tyron Stokes, in the past. Great. I mean, I hope it does happen, but I don't have any faith at all right now, Craig, that
The
anybody's
national guys are saying Diallo probably will not come to Kentucky now because they've whiffed on so many other good players.
Yeah.
So they're ruling. He was a strong Kentucky, and now he's a middle to lower middle faith in him coming to UK. I hope he does.
And maybe guys like Donnie Freeman and Zoom Diallo
Yeah.
will get paid because we'll pay you whatever you want, $10 million. We'll give you $10 million, and maybe Tyron Stokes comes because of that. But you've whipped like you said, we've whipped on 3 or 4 of these guys right now, and Robert Wright is embarrassing because he was set to come here and then he came here. What happened when you go to a school that you lose a guy? What weird things do you do to scare a guy away? People used to come to Kentucky, fall in love with it, and say, I'm canceling all my other trips. I'm going nowhere else.
They would walk into Rupp and say, "This is crazy."
Well,
or they bring them to a game and the whole place would scream that 17-year-old's name, and they would sign at the end of the game.
Very famously, Draymond Green. He came down. His mom wasn't with him. He came down, fell in love with Kentucky, fell in love with the area, went back home, and had to tell his mom that he essentially committed to the University of Kentucky, and that changed, and he ended up at Michigan State.
No.
Yeah, she said, "You are staying home."
Yeah,
and so
he was coming. He was coming here.
Yeah. So I mean, what is going on? And obviously, here's the self-reflection at this point before we move on, before we tie a nice bow on this. If you're not able to make the sale, if you're not the guy, then you need to realize that, and you need to put somebody in there that can sell it. And whether that's a Tayshaun Prince or whether that's somebody that's already in the administration, I don't care. But you got to find that guy, and you got to make him your GM, somebody that understands contracts and understands.
Which would be Prince,
who's been an assistant general manager before in the NBA, and dealt with player development. You've got to find a guy, and it's going to be too late. And are we looking at an 8-24 season like Michigan did? Because we can't put. I mean, I love Trent Noah as a local kid. Trent Noah is going to be starting at this point because we don't have enough players.
Well, and you could have brought in Rajon Rondo as a point guard, who, remember, his nickname was Playoff Rajon Playoff Rondo, because he would say average 14 points during the season, and then he'd average 24 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Every NBA star said Rondo was the best point guard during their era. Yeah. And he really stepped it up during and he won an NBA championship with Boston.
Yep.
He's been hanging around the program. I don't know why we didn't hire him. We've talked about it several times. I don't know why we didn't go after Darren Feldhouse's son.
I totally agree.
How do you let your Mr. Basketball go away? We used to get Mr. Basketballs from Georgia, Alabama.
It's guaranteed.
We can't even get our own now. We can't get our own Mr. Basketball.
And you can say
he wasn't even recruited. He wasn't even recruited by Pope.
You can say, well, he ended up in South Florida. He's not a blue blood. I don't care. There's a lot of guys we brought in here, the Oscar Tshiebwe's of the world, who, just have motors that run, and they're fan favorites, and they become studs because of that.
Oh, they love him in Utah. Yeah, and he got, like, the other day, he scored like 34 points and had 25 or 26 rebounds. They love him out there. But Feldhouse was 21 points a game, 13 rebounds. And was he 6'7" or 6'8"?
6'8". I mean, that translates. Regardless of where you play.
You not go after. And now, does Darren Feldhouse have a bad taste in his mouth, and his dad?
Why wouldn't you?
I don't understand it. That could have been a continuation of Patino's first teams, and I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
It just blows me away. This
Well,
is
moving
good.
on.
This
Yeah,
is good.
this is good stuff right here. Moving on into breaking news this morning. The KHSAA released its football realignment, not for this upcoming season, but it would be for the 27-28 season, with 30 schools, including the state champs at Kentucky Country Day and Christian Academy of Louisville and the university, Franklin County High School, all moving classes, not moving regions, moving classes. Final approval will come in at the May meeting. The total alignment is very interesting, but this affects Western Hills as well. If you will look down at Region 5 in Class 3A, Western Hills is purported to be changed down, reclassified into Class 3A. They're currently in Class 4A, and their region would include Bourbon County, Estill County, Lexington Christian, Mercer County, and Western Hills, a brutal region,
Right.
if you're trying to get out of there. And then Franklin County moving up to 5A. 5A, and this is kind of fun here. Region 6 will be Anderson County, Collins, Franklin County, and Scott County. It is
Tell me we're not going to dominate that.
But I'll tell you what, it's going to be fun because that is the old school region that we used to have. We used to play Anderson County every single year. Collins is obviously a new school in Shelby County, but then Scott County, which is going to be fun as well. I think this is a great move for Franklin County. I think it really helps out the Flyer football team. They are being moved to a division that does not have Boyle County in it. It doesn't have some of the other ones in there. They do have Bowling Green and Warren Central, some big schools. They have Cooper and Connor. Cove Cath is also moving up, one of their opponents in 4A. But I think it also includes Woodford County in Region 7 here. This will be an interesting move for Franklin County. The other thing that it does is the region is way more competitive for Franklin County than it is right now. Franklin County is winning their district and region, matchups by 50 points right now.
Right.
They're going to have to play game in and game out, which will
a
then
lot of running clocks last couple of years.
Yeah, and you'll still have some of that, but man, I'm telling you, I think this is a great move. Now, remember, folks, this will not go into effect for next season, but the season following, and there will be a final vote on this in May. I don't think there's any changes to Frankfort High's standing.
And our quarterback will be a senior then, right?
Quarterback will be a senior that year, yes.
And then we got the running back coming up, the middle school player of the year. He'll be a sophomore.
That's correct.
Then so we should have tons of experience. And when this happens, maybe that state title will be in there this time.
Well, Eddie,
maybe we'll win the state title. We're going to it.
Yeah.
I've been able to pull the trigger because of that crazy Bull County team.
I talked to Eddie today, Eddie James, and he's going to join us at some point. He's actually going to give us a tour on Monday of the new gym. But he's actually, I think he's pretty excited about this. I think this is a good opportunity for Franklin County, and Franklin County, who is still won 32 straight, straight regular season games.
Beat 2 6A teams last year and a couple of 5A teams.
Beat 3 6A teams and 1 5A team.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and then for everyone, Kyle and I also broadcast the high school football games. Have a lot of fun, and we are homers to the max.
Yeah.
So make sure and tune into those games in the fall.
Yeah, 100%. We will enjoy that. Just wrapping up here, we also have the highlights from local softball. The Franklin County varsity Flyers put together a dominant performance Tuesday night, shutting out Frankfort High behind a strong showing from the pitching circle. It's a two-pitcher effort for the Flyers, with Haley Smoot and Rosie Landers combining to hold Frankfort scoreless. Smoot came in to close things out. Franklin County got on the board early, breaking the scoreless tie in the second inning with Kayla Kennedy delivering an RBI single. The Flyers then blew things open in the fifth inning, plating 4 runs. Madison McCoy doubled in the run. Aaliyah Tillman added an RBI single, and Cameron Kelly provided the big swing of the night that you just saw right there for the final tally of 5-0. Western Hills played great crossing. Look at that score, Craig.
That's football. I mean,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
defense in that game.
Yeah, yeah. There was extra points missed there or something.
Yeah.
So that's what we have in local sports as of tonight. I want to thank you all for joining us. Craig and I are getting ready actually to record a second show tonight with a special guest. Craig, anything you want me to get to before we?
Like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Follow our Facebook pages, because that's how we grow. And Kyle and I are in this for the long haul, and we need you to subscribe to us and stay up to date on local, state, and world news.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, next Thursday night, a big event for us here live at 5 p.m. We will have a debate among the Democrat
Sheriff.
candidates for sheriff in Franklin County. Make sure you join us. If you have any questions or anything you want to get to us, please reach out to us.
Never been done before.
Never been done before like this. No.
Plant board's done it. They do their thing. This is going to be different. We're not going to have any fluff questions. We're going to have some good questions, because we want the citizens of Franklin County to know these candidates, not just vote for them because they're friends. Let's vote for them for what they're going to do for the county.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys have questions, and if you have anything you want to have us ask them, make sure you reach out to us. We're very happy to do that as well. As we always tell you guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this so other people can find it. And if you find this helpful, we are here every single weeknight at 5 p.m. As always, I am always joined with my good friend Craig Blanton. My name is Kyle Thompson, and we will see you guys right back here tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you tomorrow.